Hey guys, we're here with Jenna Borrelli, and her husband Jason is the head wrestling coach at Stanford University. Hey Jenna.
Hi, thanks for having me on your show.
Thanks for letting us. So can you tell me how you and Jason first met?
Yeah, we met, so my dad was a wrestler in high school and wrestled for a few years at Central Michigan. And we grew up close to Central Michigan University. And so he had a painting and roofing business that employed some of the Central Michigan wrestlers over the summer. And a couple of Jason's roommates worked for my dad. And one summer, he had brought a couple of his workers up to our cottage that's on a lake in Michigan. And his roommates just happened to bring him along with him. And we met up there just kind of randomly.
That's awesome. So when you guys met randomly, I'm assuming you started out as friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, we hung out, and we were actually that day we met, I was up there with a couple of my girlfriends who were up at our lake house with us, and we kind of hung out with them all day, and one of my girlfriends dared me to invite them back for the next day. And so then I called them, and I looked up Jason's phone number in the phone book at the time, and called their home and was like, hey, this is Jenna Trainer. Do you want to come back up to the cottage? And so they came again the next day, he and his buddies. And then we just kind of hang out after that.
That's funny. I love that you mentioned that you had to go look his phone number up in the phone book.
Yeah, I know. How times have changed.
That is awesome. So what was y'all's first official date?
This is also something pretty funny now that we look back in it, but Jason asked me to go to Ruby Tuesdays with him. It was like a restaurant in our hometown, and we went to Ruby Tuesdays, and yeah, we always joke around that I must have loved that salad bar.
That salad bar, man. It's good.
Yeah, it totally is. So now when we go back home, we always now with our kids, we drive by and we tell them that's where Dad took Mom on our very first date. We went to that Ruby Tuesdays.
Oh, that's a sweet story. I love that. So you mentioned that your dad wrestled in high school. So I'm assuming that you kind of grew up around wrestling then.
Yeah, I did. So my dad wrestled at Mount Pleasant High School, and that's where I went to school, and Jason wrestled there as well. But Jason is 5 years older than me, so he was out of high school when I was getting into high school. So I didn't know him when he was a high school wrestler. But so my dad wrestled there, and then I was in, I think around junior high, my dad opened a wrestling club at our house. And so in the basement of our home, we had wrestling mats. And myself and my sister, we were not wrestlers, but my dad would have local youth over on every Sunday night, and they would have wrestling practice at our house. And for a few years, he coached the middle school wrestling team. So we were kind of always around it, as kids going to wrestling matches with my dad, either at the middle school, high school, and college level, because Central Michigan is in their same hometown. One other thing I did that was kind of always around wrestling is I was in high school the stat girl for the wrestling team all 4 years of high school. So I would travel with the team and do their statistician work.
That's awesome. That had to have been so fun, though, traveling with the team to all the tournaments and the state tournaments and being a part of it.
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, it was a really fun group of people to be around.
Heck yes, I'm about that. And I love that your dad would have wrestlers over for his club on Sundays.
Sunday nights was wrestling practice at our house.
I love that. That is awesome. Talk about a true wrestling family there.
Yeah, I think it's a way to stay connected to the sport since my sister and I were not wrestlers at all.
Yeah, well, and too, back then, the women's wrestling was not what it is today.
For sure. And actually, he had a few high school girls wrestle, would come over on Sundays, and they would wrestle, maybe wrestle with their boys team at their high school. Yeah. But yeah, that was the first time I ever was around like women wrestling at all.
Yep, I understand that. It's awesome what it has grown into in the last few decades.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I know that we've talked about this a little, but could I get you to go into more detail about you not typically identifying as a coach's wife and how that plays into your role with the wrestlers?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about that, if someone were to ask me, like, Jenna, who are you? I would never say I'm a coach's wife. And I know for sure Jason would never say he's a social worker's husband. And so I think it's interesting how certain genders like take on different roles. And I think it's really important for people to choose whatever identifiers they want. And I just choose not to have mine like determined by Jason's career. And kind of with that being said, I respect like and understand that some people want to do that, and there's a long history of a kind of implied roles with being a coach's wife. And I think it's important and value that other people do choose that. So it's kind of why I don't take that role on myself. But in terms of my role with the Stanford wrestlers, I would say I don't have an official role. Like I'm not on staff, but I'm always there cheering for the guys. My kids and I are always at all the dual meets and watch all the away meets, and we kind of like to think ourselves like the guys' biggest supporters on and off the mat. We talk to our kids a lot about, you know, Jason's gone a lot because of wrestling, and so one thing we show them is like this is a really important value of Dad's, and so we're going to support Dad and be there to cheer on all of his guys because he gives a lot of his time to that, so that means it's really important. And similarly, like, they would do that for me, like, when I have accomplishments in my career, like, the boys and Jason are there supporting me and cheering me on, and we want to kind of model to them, you're going to be whoever you want to be, and us, as your parents, as your family, we're going to cheer you on along the way, whatever you choose.
That's awesome. I love how you said we're supporting Dad because this is something that's of value to Dad, and and they support you when you have accomplishments with work because that's important to you and that's of value to you. I really like that you guys are instilling that it's about value for the person that you love, and so because it means something to them, you support them and you're there for them, and you're, like you said, their biggest cheerleader.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important to us, and it doesn't hurt to. I mean, my boys, they are obsessed with the wrestlers, and they're like their own personal, you know, superheroes. I think we leverage the wrestlers all the time in terms of like potty training or anything. We're like, well, they go on the potty, and you want to be like the wrestlers, and like they're like, yeah, you know, and they're so happy, like, yeah, they're at dual meets just cheering their little lungs out. It's so cute because I think they see it as Jason thinks this is really cool and special, and so they do, and they just like eat it right up.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful dynamic. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So what has been one of the most difficult things for you to watch Jason go through as a head coach?
Something that I think is kind of reoccurring and difficult is the recruiting process. And I think it's challenging or frustrating for Jason because he's really competitive. And at Stanford, they don't have the full allotment of 9.9 scholarships like the majority of the top 20 programs do. And so I think it's frustrating on a regular basis when there's a great athlete that excels on the wrestling mat as well as in the classroom. And they could get into school at Stanford, but we don't have the athletic aid to offer them, and other schools do. So it often makes Stanford not a possibility for that person because it's so expensive to go to school here, and they could get their education mostly paid for somewhere else.
You know, I didn't even think of that, but I can imagine that's got to be a very frustrating process.
Yeah, I think it's really frustrating. I think Jason always speaks about, you know, wanting to win NCAA titles, and doing the best that their team can possibly do and being at the top. And I think while they don't have the resources that the majority of the other top 20 teams do, I think, at least on my end, I don't know if Jason would say this, but I think it makes all of those victories when you beat those teams that are fully funded and fully resourced, and they have, you know, they're getting the best recruits, when we can, like, beat them in a dual meet, it makes it that much sweeter. Like, at least for me, it does. Oh, yeah. It makes me really proud of them to be like, yeah, they're doing a great job, like, and coaching these guys, and they have a great group of the guys on the team. And so it makes those victories so much sweeter.
Oh, I can imagine. That has got to be a very good feeling to watch. Would you say that would be one of your favorite things to watch?
Yeah, I mean, I love winning, like, close dual meets at home against, like, a really close, like, or even better to on the paper opponent. Like, I get really excited about that. I'm thinking about this highlight tape the guys did, I don't even know, 2 or 3 years ago. And I blame Ray Blake for this, but he says it's not his fault. But there's a scene in there of me jumping and screaming, looking like a total maniac at a home dual meet when we won. But it was just, like, so exciting. So, yeah, those are some of my favorite memories with wrestling.
I love that they have it on video of you going crazy cheering that.
I know, and it was at the highlight video at the end of the year, and I was like, oh, my gosh, it's so embarrassing.
That's awesome.
Love those things. Go ahead.
I said, I love the excitement and the passion. That's great.
Yeah, we do get quite excited. And we have a tradition in our family, like every home dual meet that we win, we go out for milkshakes afterwards. And so the kids get really into it, the score, if it's a close one, like they really are wanting that milkshake celebration.
That's a sweet tradition. Do you guys go to the same place every time to get the milkshakes?
We usually do, yeah. There's this restaurant called The Counter that's close by, and it's like a burger, like custom your own burger and milkshake place, and we go there.
Oh, I love that. That makes it even more, like, exciting to know that there's a milkshake on the line.
Yeah, definitely.
So, how do you balance having a full-time career, being a mom, and a wife?
I would say I think about my priorities a lot, and I feel like, you know, when things are moving too fast and I don't feel that grounded, I try to pause and, like, go back to the basics of kind of what I value and what's important to our family. So that's things like being a present mom and being with my kids, showing up kind of consistently for my clients and my community. I like to connect regularly with my family and friends, whether we're hanging out in person or on FaceTime. And then I think it's really important, too, to have that kind of daily routine of, like, Jason and I having fun with the kids, like, even if it's for a half hour playing a game, you know, after, like, a busy day. Like, I like to have that kind of before we go to bed. We all laugh and, like, have some moment of fun together.
That's really sweet. I like that you guys try to fit in something, some family time before everybody goes to sleep.
Yeah, we like, the boys love card games, and so we're doing card tournaments right now where we have on our sliding door, like, we use dry erase marker, and we have a tournament going of Uno, and the first 1 to 10 wins gets to pick a movie for movie night. And the boys get, like, ultra competitive, and it's so funny to watch them.
That's awesome. But you also said that Jason is pretty competitive too, right? So does he, like, stop their competitiveness too?
No, he eggs it on. Like, everyone is against mom. I mean, they're all like, don't let mom win. And so when I win, I make sure to do a victory dance. Make sure they know, like, they can't always beat mom.
Heck yes. I love that. Mom's tough too, guys.
Exactly.
Love that. So y'all have 3 young boys. How do you think that you guys will introduce them to wrestling in their own right and competing?
I mean, I think they'll tell us if they want to do it. I mean, they're around it all the time, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do want to try it or do it. Our older two, they're 6 and 5. They're wrestling each other all the time in our house. And Jason actually got a wrestling mat that can like easy roll up that he can put down, and they wrestle around. But I think they'll let us know if they want to compete. But as of now, they're not going to any kid youth tournaments or anything like that. They're just wrestling around with each other in our living room.
Which I'm sure is entertaining, though.
Yeah, it's also quite dangerous. I'm always like, oh my gosh, we need to do this at Dad's work. That was our rule for a while. We only wrestle at Dad's work.
Yeah, where there are mats from wall to wall.
Yeah, but no, they're good. And I think our youngest, he's 1.5. He is so funny. He'll watch them and then he'll run at them and like hit their legs and try to push them over, and he's really cute.
That's precious. Oh, well, I can't wait to follow along and see what sports they do end up deciding to try.
Yeah, it will be interesting. They're all very unique personalities, all 3 of them. So we'll see.
Isn't that funny how, clearly they have the same mom and dad, but all 3 of them are so unique and different from each other.
Yeah, it is really wild.
I love that brother-sister relationship. It's special. So, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying, though, they're really close. Like, they're tight-knit. They're their biggest allies, those 3, sticking up for each other.
Right? That's going to be good when they get to school age, and you know that they're going to be, whenever they're at school at the same time, that they're going to be sticking up for each other.
Definitely.
So if you could go back in time before your relationship with Jason and give yourself one piece of advice, what do you think it would be?
I think I would tell myself, like, I wish I would have had more confidence when I was younger. I think when I look back, I would want to do things. I have to be braver to, like, step out and do things alone. I think being married to a coach, you are alone a lot. And based on their hectic schedules, like half of the year, you're kind of independent. And I think when I was younger, I said no to a lot of events or, weddings or parties or whatever because Jason couldn't go. And I was like, well, I don't need to go by myself. Mm-hmm. And at some point I kind of shifted where I thought, like, this isn't serving anyone. Like, I'll be fine. And I just did it, and I had a lot of fun. And now I feel confident going to things alone, and I don't need to have Jason there with me to go to events or weddings. Like, it's fine if I go by myself.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful piece of advice. You're so correct that you spend a lot of the time during the season, and they're busy. They're traveling all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's important what I've never even thought about that as far as being more willing to go to stuff without your significant other. But I can see, because I've done that myself. I've turned down events or weddings because I'm like, oh, no, Roper can't make it. I don't want to go alone.
Yeah, and now I go to those events, and I'm like, why would I say no to this? Like, I'm going. These people are my friends. If I'm invited, like, I'll have fun. I don't need to have, Jason there just to have fun. Like, I will be able to, socialize, have a good time, and it's not worth turning down fun opportunities like that. And so I wish I would have been more confident earlier on to just go to things alone.
You are so correct. I know it's got to be a good feeling, though, when you started going yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of like this thought of, why wasn't I doing this before? This seems silly now.
Yeah, I've had those moments with myself, too. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
What is something about Jason that most people do not know?
I would say that most people don't know that Jason is an avid collector. He loves collecting things. I guess he has since he was a boy, because he has a ton of collections at his parents' house from when he was a little kid. But right now he is an avid collector of Jordan's tennis shoes. And so he kind of is obsessed with it. and buys these shoes and never wears them and keeps them in a box like up high in our closet so no one could touch them. And I don't think anyone would guess that or suspect that that's what Jason's doing in his spare time right now.
I love that. Did you guys watch the Michael Jordan
The Last Dance?
Yeah.
I watched clips of it. Jason watched it religiously and used like all of our DVR space to record all 10 episodes. He's like, this was the best piece of television I've ever seen. Like he loves it.
It was a very good documentary though.
Yeah, he said it was great, and like our kids love Space Jam.
Oh yeah.
And so Jason got them like this poster of Bugs Bunny like doing the wings pose like that Michael Jordan did, like I don't know, for their room.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, they're having fun with it, but yeah, he loves collecting Jordan tennis shoes.
I love that. That I would have.
And yeah, you would never guess it. And he has the this year with his team, which is unfortunate. They didn't have the NCAA tournament, and but he had a bet with the guys on the team where he said they all know he has these shoes and that he doesn't wear them. And so he said that when whoever makes it to the finals, he's wearing his, like, they got to pick out the shoes that he wore to the finals, like with his suit. And so all the guys, I think, were like, you know, getting excited about this bet Jason put out there of like what Jordan he was going to wear in the finals. So maybe they'll continue it to next year when he'll wear coach in the finals wearing his Jordans.
I hope so. That would be awesome. And then I would want to know which pair of Jordans like each guy would pick out. Like that would just tell you so much about their personality, I feel. Yeah.
It's a pretty diverse collection of shoes.
I love that. That is great. Does he have a favorite pair?
I'm sure he probably does. I don't know what one it is though. But he has a couple like original pairs that he had when he was a kid. Over here, like those are the ones that have been worn, but all the rest have not. So I don't know. I bet he does, but I don't know which one it is.
But he still has the pairs that he got when he was a kid?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I know. It's like, yeah, he has kind of a obsessive personality when it comes to things he likes.
That's great. I love the passion, though. Whether it's wrestling or Jordans, he's got his passion.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Jenna. We appreciate you allowing us to interview you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. This has been fun.
How many points do you get for a takedown?
2.
How many?
2.
That's correct.